Call the meeting to order for the regularly scheduled meeting for the Planning Commission of Tullahoma. And I have the determination of quorum. We have a quorum tonight. And if you would join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Read and approve the minutes from the January 20th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mayor Seaborn. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And then we'll move on to the general public comments on items not on the agenda tonight that's under the purview of the Planning Commission. Anybody that wants to come up and talk? All right, I'll close that. And we'll move on to report from commissioners and staff.
Yes, I'll just introduce our newest member, Brett Gregory. He was a builder, so we're hoping some of that experience is very useful for us. I've been talking for off and on a couple times over the last few weeks and had a chance to really sit down and talk today, and he was available tonight, so I said, well, no time like the president, and he actually agreed to that, came in here. So anyway, welcome, Brett.
Glad to be here.
And that's all I've got. So.
Well, we're glad you're here, and we enjoy having extra people on here to serve. All right, staff?
Yeah, I would just like to let the commission know that before you we have two items that I would like to have added to the agenda. One of those items is to appoint a new chair. Once the new chairman is appointed, we'll then have to appoint a new vice chair. And then the second request is to add an item at the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting on February 9th. The aldermen had the first reading of the 2045 Comprehensive Plan. At that reading, the aldermen had mentioned that they would have some comments. Those comments would be sent back to the Planning Commission for your review, and you can either approve those comments and make those modifications or not. The 2045 plan is under the purview of the Planning Commission. I was emailed those comments, and so I have in this packet that I've got before you, there is a map that was prepared by, it looks like, the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga Center for Applied Geospatial Data Science. That was made in conjunction with our tree board. They've got a heat map in there and a recommended planting areas map that they would like included in the section of our comprehensive plan about trees. And so that requested modification has been sent to you. So I asked to make an agenda item to either approve that modification and have it made to the comprehensive plan or to deny that modification. That modification will be made to the comprehensive plan prior to its second reading at the Monday, February 23rd Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting.
So we need to vote on this today if we want to add it to the plan? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Correct. There was a suggested modification to the plan.
Yep.
And you will be having an agenda item to either approve that modification or deny that modification.
I'll make a motion to add those two items to the agenda as written.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? We will add it to the agenda under new business. All right. Sorry, get used to using this tablet instead of paper. All right. Anything else anybody has? We'll move on to approval of the agenda. Do I have anybody? Motion?
Motion to approve the agenda.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to old business. These are items that were already passed and were brought back to us via the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. We'll start with the rezone of 401 Lemon Street rezone request. A request to the Planning Commission to provide comments to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding the rezone of 401 Lemon Street. The applicant is Vernon Cole. You want to talk about your application?
My name's Vernon Cole. I own 3 parcels there. One of them's already zoned to R2. And I would just like to have the other 2 zoned to R2 so that they all match.
Thank you. If we need anything else, we'll call upon you. All right. We'll staff comments.
Yeah, the applicant is seeking to have this parcel rezoned. As he stated, it's currently zoned R1. He's seeking to zone this one to R2. This is in conjunction with another rezoning request at 0 Toole Street. That is the neighboring parcel that the applicant also owns. This parcel is 5.3 acres. The applicant is seeking to rezone this parcel to R2 residential. One thing to note is that there is, between this parcel and the neighboring parcel, a stretch of undeveloped right-of-way known as Toole Street. These alleys were pre-gridded out and are shown on the map, but they're not developed. So if this parcel was to ever develop, there is actually right-of-way that leads back all along the parcel. It just has not been improved yet, but that right-of-way is there.
All right. Would anybody from the public like to come up and speak about this? All right. Come back to the board. Do we have a motion to send a favorable recommendation?
Motion to send a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Motion from Commissioner Hall, second from Commissioner Klein. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. Move on to item A2, 700 South Washington Street rezone request. A request to the Planning Commission to provide comment to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding the rezone of 700 South Washington Street. The applicant is Susan Baker. Would the applicant like to come speak?
Hi there. That was currently used for the skills development. Somehow they had zoned it industrial, but it's been skills development for years and years. It's not set up for industrial. There is 2 buildings there. One of them is 1,500 square feet, and it's got offices in it, and it's nice as it is in here. The other one is 10,000 square feet. It has like 13 bathrooms. It's just more feasible to be able to be used for something else besides industrial. So I would like to see if we could get it zoned for C2 to get some income coming in off of it to get it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is the microphone off?
We good? Okay. All right. We'll, I got to order the other time. We'll take public comment now. For anybody who'd like to come up and speak. No one speaking?
I would like to mention when this item went to the Planning Commission last month, there was one resident who came to speak. She was not at this meeting. She was notified via letter because of her proximity to this site, and she voiced concerns that she has with this site, with another site, with other location that she currently lives at, where she's had issues with industrial trucks and industrial traffic. And her concern was, with this site being industrial, if it were to be used industrial, it would negatively impact her and her property, like she's been negatively impacted at her other location. So she voiced her support for this property being rezoned commercially and used for offices.
Okay. Do you have any other comments?
Currently, this site is zoned I1. However, it was for quite some time used for office use. That would make this site a legal non-conforming site. That being said, once the site is vacated, if a legal non-conforming use of the same nature is not brought back to it within 1 year, it will lose its legal nonconformity. That can be problematic when trying to find a new tenant for these buildings, as they're not set up for an industrial tenant, they're set up for an office tenant. So the applicant is looking to rezone this property so that we can do away with the legal nonconformity and bring the site zoning to match what it's been used for since its inception. And the future land use map does show this property as being industrial. However, that does not fit with the current use of the property or the future use of the property. And right across the street from this one are residences. So while it may be shown on the future land use map as industrial, this would not be an ideal spot for industrial, and the parcel and the buildings on it would not support an industrial use.
Would they not be able to do this, the offices under the I-1?
While our industrial zoning permits offices, they have to be there to support an industrial use. It does not allow generic offices for a non-supportive role to an industrial use.
Gotcha.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion from Mayor.
I'm sorry, send a favorable recommendation.
Yep.
You're going to get me trained on that eventually.
Second.
Second from Hall.
Second.
Second from Gregory. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Did you get that? Okay. All right. Motion carries. All right. We'll move on to item A3, a request to the Planning Commission to provide comments to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding a rezone of 1809 Old Estill Springs Road. The applicant is Tennessee Apparel Corp. And state rezoning from, sorry, it's not on the, from I-1 to R1. Would the applicant like to come speak? Okay. Does the applicant have, they have to be present?
So I would just like to mention that the applicant was present
For the
at
original.
the prior discussion. Since this one is being brought back under old business, I would have to review. I spoke to the applicant. He said he was going to be here today. I don't know if something came up, but he was present and provided comment at the last meeting when this was reviewed under new business.
We don't have legal counsel with this tonight either. What would you advise do at this point? Move it to our next meeting?
So with this one, since we're just redoing a vote more as a formality than hearing this item for the first time, and the applicant was able to provide comment at the last meeting, I think that it would be appropriate to vote on this item now, simply because if this was the first time we've seen this and it was under new business, the applicant would need to be present. But since we're just re-voting on this item to ensure proper quorum to meet the satisfactions of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, I don't feel like the applicant 100% needs to be present for this item.
Okay. We'll proceed then. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay. I'll put it back to you for staff comment.
So this applicant is requesting to have a section of 1809 Old Estill Springs Old Estill Springs Road rezoned from industrial I-1 to residential R1. North of the Tennessee Apparel Corporation's building, they have their property that is currently vacant and wooded. The applicant lives just north of this property. He's in the urban growth boundary and is not in the city limits. However, he wishes to purchase 6.5 acres of the vacant land that Tennessee Apparel owns. However, before he purchases that, he would like to make sure that it's zoned residential, as an industrially zoned section has no use to him. So he'd like to make sure that gets rezoned residential before he purchases it and appends it onto his existing lot there. If you look at the location map, directly north at the end of Clark Lane, that's the applicant's home. and he's looking to purchase a strip along the northern edge of that parcel that's going to be approximately 200 feet deep by 600 or a couple thousand feet wide. It's quite a long parcel there. So he's looking to buy that strip there and add it to his property.
Thank you. Can I have a motion from the commission?
Motion to send a favorable
Recommendation?
recommendation, yes.
Including staff comments?
Including staff comments, yes.
Second?
Second.
Second for Mayor Seaborn. All right, any discussion? All right, we'll proceed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries. We will move on to item A4, for a request for the Planning Commission to provide comment to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding the rezoning of 401 Lemon Street. The applicant is Vernon Cole, and he's asking to go from R1 to R2. Do you want it just same? Okay. Any public comment on this? Move to staff comment.
Yeah, this is the sister parcel across from the undeveloped right-of-way from 401 Le Mans. This one is unaddressed, so it has been given the Zero Tool Street designation. Coffee County Map 124E, Group A, Parcel 004. This parcel is also zoned R1. Applicant is seeking to have this one rezoned to R2. It is currently 3.8 acres, and this parcel does share that undeveloped right-of-way. There is another undeveloped right-of-way on the western side of this property. That one does not have any name designated to it, but that right-of-way does exist, and it has been shown on the map.
Thank you. All right. Can I get a motion?
Motion to send a favorable recommendation.
I second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right. Moving on to item A5. Request for the Planning Commission to provide comment to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding the rezoning of a portion of Zero Gene Drive. Current zoning is A, agricultural, and proposed zoning is R1. Property size is 10.01 acres. Is the applicant here to talk on this?
Good evening, I'm Nicholas Northcutt, and I'm representing Mr. Woodley on this. And we're glad that this got a chance to come back before y'all this evening, because we're seeking the R1 to come out of agricultural into R1. And if you were to look at the map, we're simply wanting to be the same zone as the property that's immediately adjacent to this, the Hunters Creek subdivision. And we've actually looked at multiple layouts on this property and whatnot, and when, basically the main drive for this is that when you go from agricultural to R1, you can go from a 100-foot lot width to an 80-foot lot width. So by rezoning this property, it's not going to dramatically increase the number of houses that is going to go in this property. In fact, it would be a meager increase. However, that meager increase would make a huge difference to the developer in this case, just because of the restraints of the property and its road frontage and that type of thing. So, there again, we're just wanting to be zoned, the same as what's immediately adjacent to it. And so we're glad that y'all got a second chance to look at this, and we're seeking rezoning to this R1. We can answer any questions if y'all have.
All right, thank you. If we have any questions, we'll ask. Is there any public comment on this rezone?
I would like to advise that you do have 3 public comments were submitted to me prior to the meeting in writing. Those have been included in the packet that I gave you at the start of the meeting. And I was alerted that the person who submitted those comments would like those to be read and included in the minutes as at this meeting as well.
Understood. Is that in our bylaws that we normally, I've never seen us do that prior meetings before.
So it is a requirement that we do allow for all comments that you can submit written comments if you are unable to attend the meeting. When I send out the mailers and when I place the sign and when I send out the notice in the newspaper, there is a statement at the bottom that is required to be there that lets them know that if you are unable to attend, written comments can be submitted up until, I believe it's 3 p.m. on the day of the meeting.
Okay.
I don't think they have to verbally be read, but just like submitted to the minutes, correct?
Yeah, they're there for you to read. You don't have to read them out loud.
Okay.
But they're there for you to read, and they will be entered into public record.
Yeah, you mentioned that it was asked for it to be verbally read.
I think the applicant just meant that they would like you to read those comments at this meeting before voting on the item.
Y'all just let me know when you're done reading. Everybody good? Okay. We'll move on to staff comments.
The applicant is seeking planning commission comment for this rezoning. Because this is in Franklin County, but in our urban growth boundary, we will be providing a recommendation to the Franklin County Commission where they will vote on whether or not to approve or deny this rezoning. This is looking to rezone 10.1 or 0.01 acres along 0 Gene Drive. Like the applicant stated, this is a vacant property that is along Gene Drive. And is looking to be rezoned. There is currently a subdivision at this location. When I went out to place signs, I did notice that there was an active subdivision out there. I wasn't able to count the exact number of homes, but it's about 30 houses along. Once Gene Drive gets in there, it looks like there are 2 roads, both of them tee off into cul-de-sacs and lead back out. And the applicant is seeking your comment before this goes before the Franklin County Commission.
So this parcel we're looking at here, it shows no development, but there is development, about 30 lots, you said?
Not on this parcel, but directly south of this parcel. It was the subdivision that was mentioned by the applicant, so there is already homes in the area. This is the only parcel, one of the last agricultural
Off of Gene
parcels.
Drive?
This parcel is zoned agricultural, but the neighboring parcels are not, as they are a developed subdivision.
It looks not. It looks like 30-ish houses in the like to the. Well, if you're looking at this screen, but if you look at Google Maps, it's probably like a subdivision of like 30-ish homes, plus or minus, whatever.
All right. I'll entertain a motion, then if anybody has anything they can want to discuss, they can discuss after the motion.
Last time we made an unfavorable recommendation, so I'll start there. I'm making an unfavorable recommendation to the Franklin County Commission. Yeah.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion on this?
So last time, as I recall, the 2 questions that seemed to be most pertinent was for the number of houses in there, this only being one exit, and whether there could be a second entrance exit provided for fire safety. That seemed to be a lot of the discussion we had last time. Does the applicant want to comment about that? Whether
Seemed both of these commented about a second egress.
yeah.
On Deer Creek Lane specifically.
That's what the people here talked about.
Which is apparently a private road, not a public road.
Gotcha.
So at least that's what we were told last time. So
Well, so currently, and to speak to that, currently Gene Drive, I guess, in a way would be a dead-end street. There is a street just north of this, Deer Creek Lane, but it's actually not a public street that we're able to tie it to at this time. There again, I guess, going back to the point that I had made before, just in terms of when it comes to traffic, there's not going to be a difference, but maybe 2 to 4 lots maximum that we would be gaining at most by making this. So if the traffic was a requirement, or if the traffic was a concern, then it's going to be the additional traffic of 2 to 4 potential houses. Also, if traffic were an issue, should y'all decide to rezone this, if at the time that he comes to submit a preliminary subdivision plat, if y'all see fit to do a traffic study, that's something that the developer would be willing to do to see what kind of level of services would need to be provided to that area.
okay. And who will approve the subdivision plat? Would that be us, or would that be Franklin County?
Correct. We would review, since this is in our urban growth boundary, we would be responsible to be reviewing anything that is under the purview of the Planning Commission. That would be the preliminary plat You will be responsible for reviewing and improving that document. Once it goes to actual construction plans, that would go to Franklin County, because construction plans are not under the purview of the Planning Commission. And then when this goes for its final plat, you will again be responsible for reviewing that final plat, as that is under the purview of the Planning Commission. And then once the final plat is approved, when the builder or developer seeks to build the homes, permitting those homes will be the responsibility of Franklin County. We will have no more involvement after the final plat, but we will be reviewing the preliminary plat for this and the final plat for this.
So if it were to not be rezoned and they brought us a plat, it would be under the existing Franklin County agricultural zoning, or how's that one work? We know we've had discussion about that in the last few meetings.
Correct. If the property is not rezoned, we, our municipal regional planning commission, is responsible for reviewing that. However, since it was not rezoned, it will be held to the standards of the current zone, which is Franklin County zoning. Once that property rezones, though, it is rezoning under the Tullahoma zoning. So it would utilize our zoning of R1, even though it would be under and still within Franklin County. It can be a little tricky with these urban growth boundary parcels. But for all intents and purposes, when it comes to zoning and planning commission matters, we treat it as if it was within our municipal boundaries, but only for planning commission matters. So if it does not rezone, we would have to review its compliance with Franklin County zoning. If it does rezone, we'll be reviewing its compliance with our zone that it is rezoned to, which in this case would be R1.
Yeah, we do not currently have a future land use for the UGB. All that is, if best I remember, R1 is what it's defaulted to. Yes, correct.
Correct. Our urban growth boundary has an urban growth boundary overlay, but we do not have future land use in the urban growth boundary. We just have that overlay that makes it a planning region, and due to the state appointing the Municipal Regional Planning Commission to oversee that planning region, it is your responsibility to handle matters in that region. But we don't have any sort of future land use plan or future land use map for those regions.
Okay. And if, oh, I'm sorry.
One of the things that sticks out to me is a safety concern of the number of homes that's already there. And there's no fire hydrant there.
It's not within the city.
So
I'll have to defer to Nick if you'd like to make comment on that one.
I can speak to that. So if this were within inside the city limits, a residential development, single family, would not be allowed to be more than 600 feet from the fire hydrant. And any development with more than 29 single family homes would have to have 2 fire department access roads and also fall within that 600 foot. The exception to that rule is if the developer decides to put a residential sprinkler system in each one of the homes, then the fire department access road could be back down to 1 fire department access road, and we could decrease the distance to 1,000 feet for a fire hydrant.
So if we were to rezone this, it comes under our subdivision regs or just our zoning?
So even if we don't rezone this for anything that is under the purview of the Planning Commission, which would be the preliminary plat, falls under our regulations. So it would be beholden to our subdivision regulations and our zoning ordinance.
Would that include
that's
the fire
not
flow that we just talked about?
Would that fall under Franklin County Fire Code?
What we've done in the past, when anything that's in the UGB, is I can make a strong recommendation, but with them being in the UGB, I can't enforce it in Franklin County. So I would issue a non-recommendation for this, and then give my description on why, and then pass it along to Franklin County. As the best of my knowledge, Franklin County, they, especially in the rural areas, don't necessarily have a fire code enforcement. Best of my knowledge, this would fall, Gene Drive, that would fall in the North Franklin County Fire District.
And then what action can the commission take? They can take either approval or denial, regardless of what we recommend.
For the rezoning?
Yes.
Yes, you can either send a favorable recommendation to the Franklin County Commission or a negative recommendation to the Franklin County Commission. However, the Franklin County Commission could approve or deny this. Regardless, this is just a recommendation.
Yeah, the fire safety, I think, is an issue for me.
I mean, if you think about this as property that in the future could be in the city of Tullahoma, of course,
Yeah.
if it did, we'd have some obligation to upgrade at that point.
Yes.
But still,
Yeah. And at that point, I think I'd probably feel differently about it
yeah.
if they're fire hydrants. Any other comments? All right.
So I have a comment.
Go ahead.
They're talking about storm drainage. What has been altered on this property to cause all this flooding I'm seeing in these pictures? Is this accurate, or is this a different property? There's a lot of pictures of storm runoff, and you're not supposed to be able to alter the drainage of a property where it dumps water on somebody else. I'm just curious. I don't know that it matters. I'm just questioning what happened.
Well, so there is a drain that does run through this property, and Mr. Whitley did do some clearing on this property, but he's not done anything to alter any drains or anything like that. And also, you know, if there were to be any development there, he would be subject to Tullahoma City subregs when it comes
Right.
to doing detention, water, or, you know, detention and that type of thing.
Right.
So a lot of the times, I mean, I'm not saying every time, but a lot of the times, you know, once those controls are put in place with detention and whatnot, a lot of the times it improves that
Sure.
situation
Yeah.
for adjoining property owners. But we haven't seen any pictures or been made aware of anything of that nature.
I was just curious. I'm sure it'll get taken care of when the time comes.
Any other comments? All right. No more other comments. All those in favor of taking a non-favorable recommendation, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion's unanimous. All right. We will keep on moving. Bounce back and forth here. That was the last one on the, correct? Am I wrong?
That was the last of the old business, I think.
Last of the old business. So we'll jump over to new business. So starting in the new business, we'll address the amended items to the agenda. The item number 1 will be a request to add an item to the agenda with the to appoint a new chairman. I'll bounce this back to you. We typically have the director take over for this process.
Yeah. So we'll need to appoint a new chairman. We can either, allow the vice chair to take that position and then appoint a new vice chair, or if I'd like to appoint a new chair, and then either keep the current vice chair or appoint a new vice chair. It's my recommendation that we would just move the vice chair into the current chair and then appoint a new vice chair, rather than shuffling everything up again. That's what we currently have. So we will need make a motion to appoint a certain member as the chairman, and then we'll need a motion to appoint a chosen member as the vice chair.
Motion Rice for chair.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. We'll
make
keep
a
moving
motion.
on for the vice chair.
Commissioner Hall for vice chair.
Second.
All right. You got that? Do we have any other? All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right.
All right.
We have a new vice chair.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right. We'll move on to item number 2. The modification from Alderman Byrd regarding the addition of a heat map with suggested areas of tree planting and associated description to the 2045 comprehensive plan. If the suggested modification is approved, then this change will be made to the 2045 plan prior to its second reading on Monday, February 23rd, 2026. And that's attached in your packet. You want to take a second to look at that?
Is now the time
Do
to discuss.
do you have any staff comment? I mean, you kind of already talked about it, but
Yeah, this item, the 2045 comprehensive plan, went before the board of mayor and aldermen at the February 9th Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. It had its first reading where it was approved on its first reading. However, commissioners mentioned that they had some comments they would like to have addressed. This document is under the purview of the Planning Commission, so those changes are recommendations, and it is up to the Planning Commission to either honor those recommendations and include those changes, or to deny those recommendations and not include those changes. The recommendation that we got was from Alderman Byrd and the Tree Board to include the heat map that was done, which suggests areas where tree planting and shade trees are needed. In reviewing this map, I feel like it is an important inclusion. It would be, in my opinion, wasteful to not include the extensive research that was done and the work done at the Tree Board and the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. That map is important to include as we are looking in areas to either utilize our tree fund or start planting initiatives. And I think this map would be an important inclusion in our comprehensive plan.
I make a couple comments about it.
can we go ahead and get a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Prior to discussion.
I'll make a motion to improve insertion of this information into the comprehensive plan.
You have a second? Second from Shinobia.
I can't remember the exact detail, but this is for a year or so ago. I can't remember if it was Ralph Graham or Lyle or both of them together, but became aware that UTC had this program of geospatial data and just reached out to them and said, because apparently they were doing tree studies all over the country in different communities, but they had a fixed amount of research dollars for that. And we reached out to them and they said, we'd be glad to do that for Tullahoma. So we got the benefit of being included in a research project for basically no funds, no money at all. And so now we have this nice data on what the tree population looks like through this geothermal map, which I think is pretty cool. So that's kind of the background of it. Kind of like a grant and data.
Yeah.
I had one question as far as like I have no issue putting it in. The only question I had is like as far as like formatting or like, is it like all 7 slides or is it specific or?
In the comment that I received, it specifically requested the heat risk index map, as well as a brief description of said map.
Okay.
So we would not be including the entire attachment.
So that'd basically be this last
correct.
map here. Yeah.
The second to last page there, that has the heat risk index map. I included the rest of the information because it's pertinent to understanding what the map represents. But the addition to the comprehensive plan would be the heat risk index map, as well as a brief description of the map.
And like what it and like what it? Because I know like I don't have it in front of me, but I know that there's like in different parts of the comprehensive plan, it like might reference the transportation plan or et cetera. Would this, like in that little blurb, would it like reference the, well, whatever the title's called, wherever it's at, like the Tullahoma Community Health Risk Assessment, or would it just, I didn't know if this was something published on the website or not.
Yeah, so it would probably most likely when this would be included, it would reference the Tullahoma Community Heat Risk Assessment.
Okay.
I can speak with Lyle and see if that assessment is available on our website. I certainly think that if we are going to include this in the comprehensive plan and reference the assessment will need to be publicly accessible. I can check with Lyle to make sure that it is. But as far as its inclusion in the comprehensive plan, it would be the map and a brief description. And this would go into the section that talks about tree plantings and tree preservation and shade trees and areas for plantings of those trees in public areas. That's where this would be appended onto and would be included in that section to provide a more empirical information and map on where those trees are needed.
Gotcha. Any other comments? Yeah, I see no reason not to add this in here. I think it'll be a benefit to the plan. And this was the only suggestion that you got.
Correct.
Okay. All right. No other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right. We will move on to our regular agenda. New business, subdivision plats. We'll start with A1, a proposed final plat to create three new lots of record located at 1002 West Lincoln Street. The applicant is Elazar Cruz. Are you here to... Okay. Feel free to speak about your application.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Alwina. I'm here on behalf of Elazar Cruz. We've got 1.77 acre tract that we're looking to subdivide into 3 lots.
All right. Thank you, sir. Is there anybody that would like to speak on this from the public? If not, take it over to staff for comment.
Yep. The applicant is seeking to create a 3-lot subdivision on West Lincoln Street. In review of this subdivision, one of the things to note is that Lot 3 will not have frontage directly on Lincoln Street. You'll be getting its access via a ingress and egress easement that is on Lot 2. Per our subdivision regulations, an ingress and egress easement is only allowed to provide access to a singular lot, so that easement is placed there providing access only to Lot 3. Lot 1 will access West Lincoln Street directly, and then Lot 2 also has frontage directly onto West Lincoln Street, so that easement is compliant and serving only Lot 3. So even if Lot 1 would not be able to take access off of the easement as well, it'll have to reserve its access to only being off of West Lincoln Street. Outside of that, there are no comments from our DAC members on this item. The only comment that we had is that we will need recorded copies to get signed and taken out to the recorder's office.
The plot on the website, it's showing, it's not showing the plot anymore. It's showing, or for me, it's showing Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Because I was confused at first. I was like,
Mine's the same.
What's happened?
It's showing the Taco. It's showing the Taco Bell plot versus the.
Shouldn't be. I've got the PDF right here that got hosted.
Oh. Well, I did look at it over whenever I emailed you, and it was right. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I'm using the one off the website right now, and it's showing the wrong one.
I'll have to check on that. I apologize. The file that I have, I opened here directly off the
it's
drive, and it's 9A1
Here we
is this item.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's.
Rare.
Well, no, that's not. It's messed up. So I think that's on down.
Oh, I know where that's at. Okay. That's that, big long.
This is
skinny
that
lot.
one long strip. I
Yeah.
think if you go to the next one, you can kind of see it, but you don't see the actual subdivision of it. Um, okay. I'll entertain a motion, and then we can discuss more if needed.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Mayor Seaborn,
Second.
second from Hall. Any discussion on this?
I have 3 questions. I saw that there was a existing house, I think, on it. Is that correct?
There was.
Oh, so it's not there anymore. Okay, well, there goes one question. The second question was, I think there's a strip of city of Tullahoma property. Well, somewhere I think on the north side of it. Let me see if I can find a.
Not that I'm aware of. There is, I mean, obviously there's a sidewalk there.
Which I wasn't well,
Talking about this,
These here.
or well, whatever this little strip is right here.
Yeah.
I don't know what that little
must have an easement somewhere.
Can't
And,
find what
and I
was
just didn't know if
looking at
that
earlier.
was
There.
if we were blocking whatever that property is out. I guess is the question.
Where's the property?
You
It's
know
a
about
little-
the big rectangle up there that doesn't have any access at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just looking at that too.
Yeah, I don't. There was an easement on this property already. I don't think that that
Which I
really
don't know, that's why-
impairs. I'm sure there's an easement to that property on some other property
You know
over
what I'm
there.
talking about?
I'm pulling it up right now.
It's like that little strip right
I feel like I saw a survey to this particular 1006
And that's
West
already been
Lincoln
landlocked.
Mm-hmm.
there. Okay.
at some
I
point,
see
but I
what
can't put my fingers on it
Okay, so
now.
they have to-
It seemed to me that Lot 2 also
No, I
did not
so
have
try-
frontage
try
on.
opening the PDF on the
West
website.
Lincoln.
I just pulled it up and it's correct.
wanted
on
to
my
ask
end.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mr.
I'll
Luthi about
refresh it.
that.
Try reopening the one on the website.
So we had a question about the road frontage, and did it have appropriate road frontage on all the lots?
It seems to me that Lot 2 also
can't see
is
the lot
accessed through over an easement.
Lot 2 is a
can't find the
panhandle. So it actually Lot 2 owns the frontage there along West Lincoln Street.
So that owns the frontage. This is lot 2.
Oh, there it is. You found it.
Well, yeah. But what he's saying is this is basically like a flag. So this is all one lot. So it's got access to the West Lincoln. And then the easement provides to 3. It's a bit of a
That's
cheat.
exactly what I was looking for.
It's a bit of a cheat. But
The only other
So-
question. Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
let me yeah.
Let me go ahead.
No,
Oh,
it's okay.
the other question I had in this.
No, it's not. I wish it was
Um,
for this kind of
I know
thing.
lot 3. I
have
don't know
my
if it's
mouse
to the
with me
property
like I
line
should
or how it. Nick, I think you said it's 600 feet
Oh,
from the
sorry.
road,
It's,
correct?
600 feet from the fire hydrant.
Keep going
600
backwards
feet
and
from the fire
forwards.
hydrant.
It's right-
Is
right-
lot
it's
3
right above
good
this,
for?
this one?
It's got 588 feet from the fire hydrant.
I'm
Okay,
sorry,
I remembered it was
should find
588.
If I just click it.
And is that from the
It's
property
on
line or
page
from
52.
the actual house?
That's from the house, from the dwelling.
So that should be sufficient with setbacks and everything. That should be sufficient. Okay.
It looks like the measurement for that 588 feet is at the front setback line. So assuming that the house is within 600 feet of the fire hydrant,
Yeah.
that means you have about 12 feet from the front setback line to put the part of the structure to get it within that 600 feet of the fire
From
hydrant.
any point in the dwelling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On lot 3, since it doesn't have direct road frontage, is it included the easement allow it to use the road frontage from lot 2? Because it's using the
That's the point. The easement is across lot 2.
yeah.
So the easement provides it access. In our subdivision regulations and our zoning ordinance, what is colloquially referred to as the frontage requirement does not exist. We don't have an actual requirement for a certain amount of road frontage. We have a lot width requirement. That lot width is measured at the front setback line. That is generally referred to as the frontage requirement, is the lot width requirement. However, it can be a little confusing with lots like lot 3 that don't actually front on the road. Our subdivision regulations allow you to have one lot in a subdivision like this that does not front on the road and has access via an easement, and that easement can only provide access to one lot. Lot 2 has actual frontage on West Lincoln Street, and so they're able to access it via the handle of the pole of the flagpole lot. And then Lot 3 utilizes that easement to get access. So per our subdivision regulations, this is a compliant layout for these lots. Now, Lot 3 cannot be subdivided further because only one lot may take access via the easement. However, this current layout is compliant.
Any further comments from the commission? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
I've been by that property for years, wondering if anybody ever put anything on it or not. So.
And I don't know how we can figure out what the mishap was there. It's like some of the documents got swapped around. I don't
Yeah, I
know
pulled
what
open a copy of the agenda just now, and it's in the correct order. So you might need
Yeah,
to
it is.
close the
That's what
version
I've
that you
got pulled
have.
here straight off the website.
I
And pull a new
downloaded
copy off the
this.
website.
I
There's an
downloaded this
extra
from the
copy of the
website.
Cherokee Square survey in mine in that spot.
That's what's same with
Yeah.
mine. Yeah.
That's really odd because the one that I've got here doesn't have that. So it must sometimes the PDFs being as large as they are when they get uploaded
Yeah, it's
can
stable.
sometimes have issues. So I would just close that copy out and open up a fresh one.
All right. We'll keep moving along. Agenda item A2, a request for planning commission to approve a minor subdivision final plat. The purpose of the final plat is to create 2 new lots of record. The current zoning is R1. The property size is 2.35 acres at 1329 Ledford Mill Road. Is applicant here to speak on this?
Hello, my name is Joshua Thompson, representing my mother and the applicant, Stephanie Thompson.
Do you have anything in particular?
It's just a simple plat division, single lot with 2 lots, and it will be for residential.
Okay, thank you. If we have any more questions, we'll ask. Anybody from the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll move to staff comment.
The applicant is looking to divide this parcel from one parcel into 2. The smaller parcel will be created with a 30-foot wide flagpole portion that will give it access to Ledford Mill Road. Our subdivision requirements state that for a flagpole lot, if it is less than 1.5 acres, it only has to have a 35-foot wide flagpole. If it's more than 1.5 acres, it has a 50-foot wide flagpole. This differs from the previous one that you just saw. The previous one had to be 50 feet because it required a 50-foot ingress and egress access easement. Since this lot is not having an access easement put on it, it only has to be 30 feet wide. When this was published online, we had comments from TUA, Tullahoma Utilities Authority, to change references to TUB to TUA. They also requested some changes to the water main, sewer force main, and overhead power lines. Since that agenda has been published, I have received an updated plat from the applicant. I will check with TUA on our DAC meeting on Wednesday to make sure that they have complied with all their comments. But at a cursory glance, it looks like they already have complied with the comments once they received that agenda item. So those comments should be met already. However, the plat that you have before you does not have those comments reflected, but we do have the updated plat already.
This property is in the city limits or it's not?
This is.
Okay. It's getting close out there and where the lines are.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve subject to staff comments.
Motion from Hall,
Second.
second from Klein. Any discussion on this item? All right, no discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, we will move on to item number A3. Request for planning commission to approve a minor subdivision final plat. The purpose of the final plat is to create 2 new lots of record. Zoning is currently RS1. Property size is 15.79 acres, and the location is 1646 Riley Creek Road. Is the applicant here to speak?
Good evening. My name is Edgar Kane, and this was my mother's property, and she passed away. And we want to make this minor division because my brother and I want to keep the land, but my son wants to buy the house in the 2 acres, and that's the reason why we are requesting the application, requesting the rezone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone from the public that would like to come speak on this? Seeing none, I'll move to staff comments.
Yeah, I would just like to advise that the commission that this subdivision is located in the Coffee County urban growth boundary. The remaining parcel that will be part of the subdivision is over 5 acres. So the current subdivision is looking to cut off a 2-acre portion, and the rest of the parcel will remain undisturbed and is over 5 acres.
I'll entertain a motion from the board.
Motion to approve, subject staff comments.
Motion by Hall,
Second.
second by Ms. McGee. All right. Comments? No comments. All right. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Move on to item A4. Request for the Planning Commission to approve a minor subdivision final plat. The purpose of the final plat is to create 2 new lots of record. The zoning is currently C2. Property size is 0.53 acres, and location is 1804 North Jackson Street. Is the applicant Cherokee Square Retail Partners? Is anyone here for that?
Good evening, I'm Jim Woodard, standing in for the better-looking Joe Lester this evening. And like I say, the tenant there is only wanting to make the purchase. It's the LLC company that's been operating that Taco Bell forever. And they want to buy that building and that land for themselves. And we're prepared to make that happen.
Okay.
Very much.
Thank you. Anyone here to talk on this from the public? Seeing none, move to staff comment.
Yeah. This is a subdivision final plat to create 2 new lots of record. This plat is before you to separate the parcel, or separate into a parcel, the area that is currently occupied by the Taco Bell. One of the comments that we had for this plot was once Taco Bell has been subdivided, we'll need some ingress and egress access easements recorded on the remaining Cherokee Square parcels, just so that Taco Bell can still use that entrance and that exit once it has been separated out. Outside of that, the other comments that we had was just to have that joint access easement recorded. There are no other comments at this time.
So does the applicant have easements in place for this?
I have not seen that paperwork, but I'm sure those attorneys and have already been exchanging those ideas. That would be part of David Crabtree out of Brookville Properties, who's working with all the, between the buyer and seller, fairly confident all that's being worked out.
Okay.
Nothing's going to change on the building. It's going to be left remaining the same. So, yes, I'm sure they'll be granted permission to be able to get into that.
Okay.
It's a busy spot.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Entertain a motion from the board.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from
Second.
Hall. Second from McGee. Comments? Nope. All right. Take a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Move on to item B1. This is moving on to a site plan. This is a request for the Planning Commission to approve a site plan. The purpose of the site plan is to install a new outdoor garden center and propane tank. The applicant is Kenny Sadler. The zoning is currently C2. Property size is 0.75 acres. The location is 1711 North Jackson Street. Is the applicant here to talk?
Good evening, my name is Greg Yedell. I'm with Ace Hardware. We own, my family and I own Ace Hardware in Hendersonville, Tennessee. We're opening a new Ace Hardware here at that location, which was the previous office map. As a part of what we do for our Ace Hardware is we also do a large garden center. So we're asking the Planning Commission to approve our site plan for our garden center. We also, just as a side note, we try to do really upscale garden centers as well. So it's important for us to make sure that the garden center looks very pleasing to the community. So what you're going to see in front of you is a fairly nice upscale garden center that will be represented as well. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. All right. Do we take public comment on site plans? No. All right. We'll move on to you for staff comments.
Yeah. The applicant is requesting approval of the site plan. This site plan is looking to add a garden center as well as a small propane enclosure. The only reason why you are seeing this site plan is because the applicant is looking to install a pergola. That pergola will be used to house shade plants. But because of the size of that pergola, the applicant will have required to have a building permit. The only way that a building permit can be pulled for a commercial property is if there is an associated approved site plan. That is the site plan that you see before you. The applicant is not looking to change any layout in the parking lot. They're not adding or removing impervious surface. They're not changing entrances or exits or anything. The only review really that was required was a count of the parking spaces to ensure that with the installation of the fenced-in garden center and the pergola that the number of provided parking spaces would still be compliant, and they are. One other comment that was received was that because of the size of the modification, the applicant will have to comply with the landscaping requirements. I have received a landscape plan that was reviewed by our city arborist, and he has approved that. So that comment and that condition has been complied with. The current site does already have some vegetation on it. I believe there's just some additional vegetation that needed to be added. However, while speaking with the applicant, it is their intention to kind of overhaul the landscaping on the site already. So they had no problem complying with that comment. And so if you look at the site plan for this, it is a little sparse just because they're not changing anything in the layout. They're just adding a pergola to provide shade for those shade plants. And there is a small propane bottle area that is going to be going up at the north of the property. And then the garden center area is at the south of the property.
Okay, thank you. All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion from Hall.
Second.
Second from Gregory. Comments?
Thanks for coming to Tullahoma.
Yes.
Filling in a blank spot for us. That's really great.
Thank you. We're really excited.
Thanks.
Anything else? All right. No comments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right. We'll move on. Item C. Request for the Planning Commission to provide comments to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding the rezone of Lot 38 of the Southern Harmony Estate subdivision. Current zoning is R1. Proposed zoning is C3. Property size is 2.83 acres and location is 0 East Lincoln Street. And the applicant is Nicholas Northcutt.
Servan, and I'm representing Mr. Lowe on this property. In regards to the rezoning of this property, this property is actually, it's lot 38 in a previously approved preliminarily approved development that y'all had seen last year, I believe. And so this lot is actually kind of an outlier from the rest of that development in that it is separated from the rest of that development by a drain and a wetland area. So, you know, anytime you've got those drains and wetland areas, there's associated buffers with that. So this would be the area that lies south of that drain at the very southerly end of this property. When we were doing that development, there were a lot of concerns brought up by the people that live in that neighborhood. You know, these concerns are certainly legitimate, and nobody knows them better than the people that live out there. The fortunate thing about this property is that by this rezoning, none of those concerns that were brought up will be an issue. This property is already sandwiched between multiple properties that are already used for commercial and or industrial purposes. Being bounded on the west by the Pepsi plant, on the railroad, on the south and the water tower, and on the east, just beyond this property, by the Rice property. The most common concerns brought up were drainage and traffic. Fortunately, this property doesn't drain onto anybody that lives on Cobb Road. It actually drains onto the Pepsi plant. There's a little drain that kind of crosses through and goes under their first driveway. So, you know, certainly if drainage were a concern of anybody that lived on Cobb Road, none of this property that we're talking about drains onto that. In regards to traffic, the traffic impact would be minimal due to just the location of this property. The majority of the traffic coming in and out of this lot would most likely be using the highway since it was right next to the highway. The pavement width right there at the entrance, that first entrance to the Pepsi plant is 22 to 23 feet wide, as this portion of the road is already accommodating truck traffic to the adjacent properties. So I know that was a concern of a lot of people, but I don't think that even traffic is going to be an issue on this. And again, it's already a preliminarily approved lot. You know, there would already be a driveway coming onto this property. But also for any future development that might go onto this property, you know, again, this is just a rezoning request that we're bringing before y'all tonight. So any development that were to come on this lot would be subject to future site plan requirements, construction plan requirements, and would be subject to review by the city for any drainage or traffic concerns that may come up. You know, there's also other commercial property that is right across the highway. And so we just feel like if any property had, you know, according to adjacent use, had a good chance of getting rezoning, we think that this would be a really good fit, and we secure approval to rezone this property. I'll be happy to answer any questions on that.
Can I ask a question? Well, hypothetically, if apartments were built on this property, how many, just not holding you to it, but just rough guesstimate of how many would fit per se on that?
In a perfect world, if you could use all of the property, you could fit 41 units on it.
Okay.
However,
Which not perfect world, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, however, it wouldn't be near that many just because, as I said before, there's the drain and that wetland that's on this property. So over a third of the property would be consumed by buffers and whatnot.
Okay.
And then you would still have to have
parking and
for detention and all that other stuff. So, you know, my guess is best half of that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? All right, thank you. If we have any more questions, we'll
I would just like to say, due to this property's proximity to the CFC recycling
I was
property,
going to recuse myself. I did
Yeah,
when the rest of the property was
perfect. Okay, I would just advise that would probably be
Yes,
best practice due to the neighboring property that is owned by you.
I will definitely be recusing myself.
Thank
you. Public comment. Any public comment about this rezone? No public comment. We'll move on to staff comments.
The applicant is looking to rezone the property, as previously discussed, from R1 to C3. This property was part of the Southern Harmony Estates development. When you look at that subdivision map, this property is separated by a waterway and a pretty sizable wetland easement. This property is not able to even take access from the Southern Harmony Estate subdivision due to the separation from it due to that waterway. When I went out to the site to look at this to put up the signs, I did notice that it is directly adjacent to the Pepsi plant, the water tower, the railroad, and the industrial property that CFC owns. I did get a phone call from a Cobb Road resident that mentioned their disdain with that rezoning. They said that they were going to make an appearance tonight, but clearly they did not. However, in looking at the residents on Cobb Road, with this property being where it is and not taking access from the Southern Harmony Estates internal drives, I don't really see any way that this would impact the Cobb Road residents because its access would be directly off of 55, which is, a couple 100 feet south over the train tracks and is right there. This applicant has requested that the entirety of Lot 38 be rezoned to C3. That gives them 2.83 acres. They are looking to put apartments on this lot. Multifamily development in C3 requires, I believe, you get 3,000 square feet per apartment. That is assuming that the entirety of the parcel is utilized for apartments. That will most likely not be the case. However, it will be able to have a significant number of apartments on it. When that does come through, because they are putting more than 5 units or 5 or more units on this property, it will require a commercial site plan. So this will have to come back before the Planning Commission, both in the final plat to have these lots officially created, as well as in a commercial site plan for those apartments. So you'll be getting to see this lot 2 more times, both for its final plat and for the actual site plan for the apartments were this to be rezoned today.
I'll entertain a motion.
What were the neighbors' concerns?
When I spoke to the resident, they didn't give me any specific concerns. It was just mentioned that they were not happy with this being rezoned, that it puts too much strain on the area. That was all they had mentioned. Previously, when speaking to residents on Cobb Road for other projects, their concern is mainly traffic, is the chief concern that they have. Cobb Road is pretty narrow, and their concern is traffic. However, with this property's proximity to Highway 55, I highly doubt you'll get any traffic going north on Cobb Road, where the predominant amount of this traffic will be going directly onto the interstate.
I'm going to motion to send a favorable recommendation.
Okay, got a motion from Hall.
I'll second that.
Got a second from Seaborn. Any more comments about this?
I at least wanted to comment that I am somewhat torn on this one because theoretically it's higher density further out, but at the same time we have the industrial park right down the street. We have Pepsi across the street. It provides housing. Hopefully even more comes to industrial park, and it's close. While it's not necessarily closer to grocery stores, it's closer to workplaces. So anyway,
Yeah, I guess my thought there is it's also close to the major
And major
road,
highway, yeah.
and you're not pushing that traffic into some of our smaller streets. And it's got great access headed to Manchester or town, so hopefully it'll provide some needed housing.
Anything else?
And it's increasing property values right on the main street as well.
All right. If there's nothing else, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And then I'm abstaining. Motion passes. And that concludes our items for tonight. The next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 16th, 2026. And we're adjourned from the Planning Commission. And then we will be opening up let me get the other.
I forgot we got another
Yep.
got too excited.
There we go. Opening up the Board of Zoning Appeals. Call to order Planning Commission. Read and approve the minutes of the January 20th, 2026 BOZA meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Hall.
Second.
Second from McGee. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. We have approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion for the approval of the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion from Hall.
Second.
Second from McGee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There's no old business. There's no new business. We are adjourned. Have a good evening.
Good job.